Welcome to the Growth Guys Podcast, presented by KinderReeseCoaching.com. This is the #1 podcast for real estate agents who are serious about growing their business. Get the strategies and tactics to grow your business fast while building the lifestyle you dream of. Now, sit back, buckle up, and get ready, because we're about to get real. The Growth Guys Podcast starts right now.
What's up, everybody? It's Jeff Kiani, and we're excited for this episode of the Growth Guys Podcast. This is another one of our Ask the Growth Guys live episodes where John Kitchens and myself do our best to answer any questions that anybody has and kind of just talk about what's been going on recently in our conversations with other agents. So sit back, relax, and we love these Ask the Growth Guys live episodes. We'll get started right now.
Welcome back to the Growth Guys Podcast.
What's up?
What is up, man? What is up? Growth Guys Podcast. Ask the Growth Guys live.
What questions do you have?
Yeah.
What is on your mind?
I got a question for you.
What's up, Ann?
What
you got?
was the biggest takeaway that you got from being at EXP Con?
4 days is too long in Las Vegas. 4 trips to Vegas in 10 months is too many. God bless Jim Brooks. He's a saint and a hero. You know, the biggest, I really think one of the biggest takeaways is exactly what, you know, they're living the vision, right, of the organization. And I don't want to get into, you know, make this about EXP, but I think there's things that are principles that you want to look at in whatever organization you're a part of. And is that, you know, one, is there a vision for the organization? Is there a purpose? Are there core values? Actually, reverse that. Are there core values? Is there a purpose? Is there a mission that they're on? And, you know, what are they doing to deliver on the promise of that? And, you know, one of the biggest things that they've got a few things that they're rolling. One of the biggest ones is in alignment with the iBuyers. It's called Express Offers. And it's about to come available online in multiple markets, and it's pretty powerful. So I think that was one of the bigger takeaways. I think another one of the bigger takeaways was, you know, when you're in an organization that has the compensation aligned accordingly, it becomes really collaborative, and you know, there's barriers dropped. Everybody's there to help everybody. And, you know, I mean, come on. I mean, we've all been to multiple different conventions and different businesses and different this, that, the other. And it's never been that way. I think that's one of the biggest differences. And I'm just speaking from the real estate space. And if you've ever had experience in other entities, other industries, to where the model's right, clear vision, then you know what I'm talking about. And so it's nothing like, I mean, that we've ever been a part of. I mean, we've done it on a small scale, but, you know, when you've got, you know, 23,000 agents, I think is where, you know, the company is at. And it's, you know, the fastest growing real estate brokerage in history. And it's not slowing down. It's amazing to see kind of where they're at, where they're going, things they're focused on, things that they're delivering on. And so it's really cool. It's, man, it's just fun to see. All right. You know, from the inside, the outside, just all different angles and perspectives.
It's, you know, we just got off doing a podcast about differentiation, and they hit the nail on the head when it came to differentiation, I would say.
Yeah.
Man, so So let's, just talk about, we always do these growth guys here at 7:00, and who knows what everybody else is doing. Maybe they're at happy hour, or they're at their son's soccer game, or who knows what.
Yeah.
So, but people watch them later. So we're going to do the best we can to provide some value and talk about something that's relevant for everybody. And this week, just kind of running through my head, man, so far this week, would be on Wednesday. So I listened to some call recordings for a group out in New Mexico this week. And I'll tell you that they're two brand new agents that are fresh out of getting their license with a little bit of sales background. They've spent 2 weeks on the phone. I mean, straight out of the gate, from learning the script on 2 weeks ago, getting the script 2 weeks ago. But they've got 2 listing appointments already, one of which it looks like they're going to win, and several other solid nurtures and a couple other, things in the pipeline. And
so what is it? I mean, unpack that for everybody. How are they able to go through and do that?
Well, they got a script, so they got something to follow when they're on the phone with somebody. That's step number one. They're practicing that script, and then accompanying that practice with videos and consuming content so that they can learn through a different medium, so that they can retain more and start to internalize it, collapse the learning curve. They're using Mojo as a dialer. They're using RedX as their source for expired, cancels, and for sale by owners. They're not in a big market by any means, but there are still opportunities there. And they happen to, they called RedX, and they were able to they had a subscription that was inactive for a little bit, but they were able to get everything back going like 2 years. So there's a deep pool there of stuff to dial, probably like 2,000 or so leads, each with 3 or 4 phone numbers. Right. And so there's a lot there for them to do. I'm holding them accountable to sticking to the script. So the call recordings, so, I have their username and password for Mojo, so I can go in and listen to the calls randomly. And so having that accountability to go back and listen to a call and being like, well, here you just totally ditched the script, you didn't even use it. Or here, you could have asked this question. And so being able to walk through those situations with them collapses the learning curve as well. They're putting in the dials and filling out an end of day report every day. And so it's those basic principles, it's not science, but it's science, but it's not rocket science. It's everybody knows those things.
I love that, man. I love hearing that. You made me kind of think of another takeaway. Jay hosted a panel last week. And one of our own, Mr. Andrew Gaydosh, was on the panel, but Veronica Figueroa was on, and Veronica is probably one of the top agents in Orlando. And I think the question was along the lines of, if you were to move into a new market, what would you do? And she's like, same thing that we do every day, right? We would be disciplined to the activities that drive the results. We would have our scripts. We would make our phone calls. We would, really embrace the fundamentals of what it takes to be successful, right? It's not sexy. Fall in love with the mundane, the boring, and that pours out, it bears the fruit that we're after, right? And so it's just everything that you were saying there is just, that was going through exactly what was ringing what she was saying. I was like, it is, man. It's not
You're
sexy.
A farmer.
That's it, man.
It ain't sexy to be a farmer. I mean, you got to think about it. You got to plant them seeds, till them crops, all this on the hope that in, 3 months from now or whenever it's going to harvest. Like, it's easy to go out there on day 62 and be like, man, this is ridiculous. Obviously, there's nothing growing. And, man, we're supposed to have a bad winter. I don't even know if this is going to be worth it.
Yeah.
I'm going to screw it, man. I'm going to move back to the city. But you never know that, it's what it is. You got to put in that time and have faith.
Yeah, buddy. It is, man. And it's, I had an opportunity to talk to, just like I do every day, opportunity to talk to a few amazing clients. And, it's like, hey, what do you want? What do you want December and January and February to be like? Right. it's what you're doing today that's going to determine what is happening then. And it's like, you know, in this business being, you know, it's not an instant gratification business. You know, you got to fall in love with the process and just knowing that result is going to come. It's not going to pay your bank account today, but if you don't do it, it ain't ever going to pay your bank account.
It pays a personal account. You know what I mean? I mean, you get to feel good, like, you know, when you nail. So there's a little return on investment of time that you get. You're waiting on the return and the monetary level, but really you ought to get, you know, screw the money. Let me just use the time that I have the most effectively, because I can make more money, but there ain't enough time. So you're worried about the money and you're wasting time. The money is like a you know, finite resource, and time isn't, or one or the other. I probably said that wrong, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're wasting time worried about the money when we can't buy more time.
Yeah. No. You know, the other thing too, man, I wanted to share this with you. You know, had a good call with our man, Dan Puzz today, and man, flipped the switch on him. What has it been? Maybe 2 months ago or whatever. He's like an obsessive marketing student now. And I love it, because that's the growth, right? For him, because he's on the hamster wheel, the Ferris wheel, right? Because he's got the sales mechanism in place. But now what are we doing to build the brand, build the long-term asset, to build the equity, to build the balance sheet, right? He's got the P&L in place, right? He's able to go pump sales whenever he needs to pump sales. But what are you doing long-term? So, man, he's a ClickFunnels student. And I was like, oh man, I said, you know, you have a resource in Kiani. He's like, do what?
Yeah. I was walking through the ClickFunnels.
I was like, just because I think he's in week 3, right? They're starting to build funnels, so he's in you know, the
one funnel challenge. Yeah,
and he's building it, and I'm like, you know, you can talk with Kiani when you get through that. And he's gonna be able to help you. He's like, he got silent for a second. It was funny. I was laughing. I was like, hit up Kiani, man. I said he got some ClickFunnels skills. He can definitely take a look and help you. He's gonna shorten your learning curve. And he's like, that's awesome.
For sure.
Good stuff.
Good
stuff. What else has been happening, man? You know, I feel
I got a role play call tomorrow. With our man JB on top of the hill. I got a role play call with his ISA and 2 other agents on the phone. So tomorrow we're going to be going over the expired script again, talking about doing the right things. I mean, and he hit us up and was like, hey, look at my stats. Look at this. We have a low contact rate. We have this going on. Can we plug so-and-so into something? And so that's what we going on. I think that demonstrates the right behavior for somebody who's primed for massive success, right? Coachable, asking for help, asking for the right things, taking a look at their business, which is so often. We've also had experiences where we have people that think they know everything, and that you know, they don't need any help, right? Yeah. And man, I always need some help. I may not be. You could not get me to tell. Maybe like it's not. Maybe you know, I have sometimes an issue asking for help. But if you said would help be useful, I'd have a hard time saying no to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then there are some people that we run across that are uncoachable. And I think it's important to recognize that, because we all could be that person in some moment. And we probably all are at some point or another. But it's only the conscious recognition that we're being in that state that we can go, okay, hold on. Let me be receiving here instead of, you know.
Yep. It's defense mechanism. I mean, there's a true sign of power is being able to ask for help. Whereas I think, you know, conditioned at a young age that, you know, it's a weakness, and that's just bullshit. It's just not true. And so being able to have the power to ask for help, and we all struggle with it. I mean, I do as well. It's hard, but when you know, let the ego succumb, out of the way, ask for that help. It's such a powerful position to come from, from a state of awareness. And I think, the key thing too, Jeff, talking through that is once you're aware of it and you see it, you're like, shit, like ego's in the way, just ask for help. But acknowledging that and accepting that you were coming from that stance, that position. And once you do that, it creates a higher level of awareness to where it starts to become, okay, got it. I'm starting to learn this lesson. I don't need to keep learning this lesson, is that, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to, not to be, I know it all. And that comes from ego, because one of the pillars of ego is control. And so I think our ego is trying to stop us because we feel we're going to lose control when we ask for help. And that's just not true, right? You're going to gain so much more power by doing that. And there's a lot of people that can't get past that barrier. They just won't allow that to get out of the way, and they become standoffish. And I think, an easy switch too, Jeff, for us is when you focus on the solution, right? What are all the ways, it's just outcome oriented, right? Mm-hmm. Solution oriented versus falling in love with the ego. And so it's just a couple, it's a huge distinction, but it's, you're either here or there, and then you just have to accept where you're at, and then you can move to the top, which is focus on the solution.
If you've ever been in a car driving around lost as a man, you know the feeling.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to accept where you're at, because for the last half hour, I've been saying that I knew where I was going. Yeah. But at some point, I have to say, I don't know where we're at. Damn.
Yeah, I don't. Let me pull it up.
But I was not going to do that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But, accepting where you're at, and man, you said something. Shoot, now I'm gonna forget it. Anyhow,
what are you reading right now? I know you had mentioned earlier we were chatting, doing a Growth Guys podcast episode. You've been going back through influence.
So there's a few things that are on my thing right now. They're probably, some of these might be old. Let me see. But here's what I have that runs through my library right now. There's influence, because I just started listening to that. Again, the 5-second rule. Still haven't finished that. I have a little bit left on that.
Mel?
Yep. Mel Robbins. I had just finished What Great Salespeople Do, which is all about storytelling. It's an absolute must. Do you remember the storyboard course that we all went through with the?
Yeah.
And he breaks it down to creating your story. It's an absolute must for anybody in sales, and especially real estate agents.
Story Brand with Donald Miller.
And this is different. This is story. Their product is called something different, but this book is fantastic, and it breaks it down, and it talks about using, you go get some index cards, and you have colored ones. You have, I believe it's like green, yellow, blue, white, red, and they each represent, like, yellow is, let's see, white's the beginning of the story, your story. Blue is like resolution, red's conflict, and it helps give you the framework to create stories, which sell. Stories sell,
sure.
Bottom line. And he talks about that, like 10 stories that you should make, and it's what's your story, what's your company's story, what's your customer's story. It's really, really good. Then there's Be Obsessed or Be Average. Just finished that one recently. Building an Empire. Finished that one. Scientific Advertising, McLeod Hopkins. Old school, still super relevant.
So relevant.
Atomic Habits. Not
Great
quite
book.
done with it. Can't Hurt Me, my man Goggins. I saw Reese posted a picture. I saw an ad, a post from Reese today with Goggins. Yeah. And then we get it like Never Split the Difference. Must. Great. Right?
Yep.
Extreme Ownership.
Yep. Jocko.
Jocko. Pitch Perfect. Bill McGowan. How to Say It right the first time. Super good. And then exactly what to say, the same book Jay was talking about. I listened to that earlier this year. It's super good.
It's so good. It's so good. I actually have, so it's the 23 magic words, phrases. I actually had the PDF up on my computer at any time, right?
Yeah.
Because you can use those words in any situation, right? I was working with one of our coaching clients today on putting together some content pieces for a print marketing strategy that is going out, and was like, use some of those keywords, right, in the copy of it. And it's just like, it's so dang powerful.
Man, I mean, it's where it's at. It's not the words you say, it's how they make people feel. I did in an exercise the other day to try to get these. I think maybe it'd been our sales team. I can't remember now. It might have been people on our sales team, but I was Googling, because I remember I used to have back in the day, I had this list of like power words, just like you have the 23 phrases. I had these power words that you'd use instead of these mundane words that we all use. And so you'd search for them when you're on a call to replace a boring word.
Yeah.
And so I was doing some search the other day online, and I found these, like on Pinterest, I found these posts where they had like visual. So they had like 42 words for visual people, and then they had 42 for auditory people. And then they had 42 for kinetic people. And so it was, like in talking about when you're talking to people, old school sales, like NLP stuff. But if you're telling me that I feel like this and I'm starting to sense this, those words that you use are telling me kind of whether you're an auditory receiver, a kinetic receiver, a visual receiver. Well, I see the way things are going, but the way it looks is, well, that'd be different. And so then there's certain words that you can use that then mirror and kind of immediately make rapport, right? And man, I remember back in the day, and it should still be the same, but back in the day when I was in it to win it, my walls were covered and stuff. My office had every Post-it notes of every little thing, objection, rebuttal. I mean, you were just, and if I ever had anybody that was working for me or was around me and they didn't have all that, not to say that we judge, but I did. I was like, this, come on. But you got all that up here? You think you're going to remember all that? Is that how conceited you are, that you think that your memory is so good that you're going to remember all that? Crazy. But that's what it looks like. To me, that's what success looks like, just like all them books behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a couple more here, man. I got my man. I just barely started it, but I got my man. One of my he is my favorite author, Ryan Holiday. Got his new book, Stillness is the Key, which is the follow up to Obstacle is the Way, Ego is the Enemy. And man, I think I told you got that call with Mr. JB tomorrow. Man, he needs to be reading Hard Thing About Hard Things. Ben Horowitz. It's probably it's top 5 book for me of all time, for sure.
Well, say it again so everybody can get it. Top 5.
It's sad. I know exactly where it is on this bookshelf. It's The Hard Thing About Hard Things. I've got it on Audible. He reads it, but it's Ben Horowitz. If you think you got it bad, you think you're going through a hard time with your business, you ain't even close.
Not so much.
So, but he breaks it down in here, man. He even breaks down, the right way to fire people, like Hard Thing About Hard Things, right? How you communicate, wartime versus peacetime. If you are struggling in your business and you're trying to figure it out, you need to be reading and consuming that book. It is a game changer. Man, I started this one here with Indistractable. Have you seen this one yet?
Mm-mm.
I haven't got all the way. I mean, I'm only, not even a quarter of the way in, and it's legit. It's
really,
yeah. The same author that did the book Hooked But what it is that, it's either distraction or you create the elements, the environment, the circumstances, everything to where you're indistractable. Like the book says.
Indistractable. I mean, that's good, right? I mean, I want that on a t-shirt right there.
Yeah, no joke.
Indistractable. It doesn't even sound like it's a real word.
Yep. And that's what they talk about. It's the number one essential skill to develop to succeed in our world right now, because there are so many distractions. And what are you doing to make yourself,
impervious?
To where you don't fall to it. So
you can build your empire. You know what I'm saying? I just want to say, I know we don't have a lot of people asking questions. So, we probably not go the whole hour on this one. But I do want to say, because I'm always looking. So I just want a history lesson. So see this picture right here?
Yeah.
It probably looks weird, but I want to just give everybody that. Do you know where that is?
No.
So that is the outdoor pool at Hearst Castle. Talking about people who stay laser focused. So you spent time in California. You know Hearst
Southern
Castle.
Cal, man. That's where's that down? That's just down off of
It's in San Simeon. It's off of Highway 1.
It's off of 1, right?
Yeah, if you can get there, if there's not like a rock slide or something.
Yeah.
But he had a big castle there, and so I had a chance when I was younger to live in Cambria, which is like 15 minutes from there, in this little sleepy beach town. It's crazy, but my grandparents used to always love to go to Hearst Castle. And so I've been there a few times, and that's what that picture is. But I'll tell you the craziest thing, because people always ask me, like, what is that picture? And, it's weird. And again, I probably got to replace it with something. But it has history. It's history for me.
Something to you.
So, yeah, because I'm going to tell you what means something is, you see those Roman pillars right there, all that?
Yeah.
So this guy was like the earliest antique. So he at one time, Rudolph Randolph Hearst, which is the richest man in the world, owned all the newspapers and stuff. Patty Hearst, that girl who got kidnapped and was forced to rob a bank and everything, that was his daughter or granddaughter. Could be wrong, but either way. So he was a titan, and he was born in the early 1900s, and he was a collector from day one. Like the story goes, when he was 8 years old, his mom asked him, "What do you want for your birthday?" And he said, "I want the Eiffel Tower." Like that's how the guy thought. And so he had the opportunity to travel around the world before they had antiquities laws, where you can't just go to Egypt and find something and then bring it back.
Right. And
so he collected this massive collection of ancient artifacts, and then he continued to the rest of his life. So that right there, those are actually 3,000-year-old Roman pillars that he had brought to America. And like everything there is real. There's a sarcophagus like right over here that's actually 3,000 years old, made of diorite, which is harder than a diamond. And this pool, all those lines, he built it. There's an indoor pool too. This is the outdoor. But he built the pool like a Roman or Greek bathhouse, so that those lines make it look like it's 2 feet the whole way. It gives the illusion that there's no change in depth, and it's like 2 foot pool the whole way, even though it's like 15 feet at the end. It's
no
crazy.
Way.
If you ever go to California and you have a chance, you should take a tour of Hearst Castle. They probably could use some ticket sales.
I'm sure.
but
you got an affiliate link?
No, I don't. See, I'm just authentic about it. I don't even have a agenda. But man, it's cool, and it just it was an interesting topic to talk about.
It is, man. That's cool. It's very cool.
And then that thing over there, that thing, the rose, that's from Pathways. So that's when I went through Pathways, and they break you down. You start dealing with the stuff in your life, and at one point they make you write a letter to yourself in your opposite hand and mail it to you. And then later when you're out of Pathways, you get that and you're like, oh, and you're thrown back into that moment.
Yeah. It's crazy.
We got to keep all that shit present, man. We got to keep ourselves in the zone. I had a friend that he would always cash the check before it came in, so to speak. Like when we were in sales and you closed, I closed that deal. Do you have a FedEx pickup number? Is the check in the mail? No, I'm supposed to call him on Wednesday. Well, then you didn't close that deal. Quit talking about all that. And then every morning he'd come in, and one time we ended up working really closely together. But one time he said, "Jeff, man, I have to sell myself, man. I just tell me that stuff so that I can sell myself. It's hard enough to come in here and do it. So I just sell myself on all that because it gets me in the right mindset." And he was right. If you got to tell yourself, whatever you got to tell yourself to get in the right mindset to go do the things that you don't want to do.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Still though, don't cash that check before it clears. Not even when you deposit it. You got to wait for it to clear.
Yeah, let it clear. It's awesome, man. So what do we got in the works? I don't think we've kind of shared with folks. We're heading into the fourth quarter. I don't know.
So yeah, biggest thing right now, everybody who's watching this should be getting a call from one of our Kinder Reese representatives about boot camp. Honestly, hopefully you guys are aware, December 2nd to 4th, Expert Advisor Boot Camp. It will change your business forever, inherently your life. And we talked about this a little earlier, but none of y'all maybe do, maybe don't, maybe used to use it, aren't using it anymore, which is probably the case for a lot of people. We go over everything about our philosophy when it comes to differentiating yourself as an agent. And at the same time, we provide you the scripts, the language, the props, everything. I can't say it any better. What about you, Kitchens?
No, man, that's it. I mean, it's one of the foundational events from an NAEA perspective. Certified home selling advisor and certified home buying advisor. 3 days. It's boot camp style, early, late, and we take it deep. You're there. You go, man. That's
right there. You get the whole binder. I mean, if you want to skip 3 years of a learning curve, you spend 3 days. You turn 3 years into 3 days.
Yeah. Dude, man, I was thinking about that. The 5 days with us could change your life. 3 days at boot camp, 2 days at agent to CEO.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you need some time to go out and do the boot camp. I think in 1 year, 2 events could change your life.
Yeah.
Just to be more conservative.
5 days in a row.
Come on. This ain't.
I wouldn't do 5 days in a row ever.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's different. I think, if you come to boot camp for 3 days and then you spend 3 months super hyper focused, indistractable on execution and implementation, and then you on day 91 put yourself in a position to come to another event within the next 30 days, which would be agent to CEO, then you're like putting the cherry on top of the cake that you just made. And then maybe you come to Expert Advisor Boot Camp again the third time. And that's when
you're going to come the third time. You're going to come to that third event because you're going to be bringing some team members that you need to get trained up to.
For sure. Why. So all that being said, that is December 2nd to 4th. It's at the West End. It's a fantastic place. It's actually, there's a beautiful golf course there. Anybody wanted to try to squeeze in? I don't know how you have to come in a day earlier or a day after because we spend all our time in the classroom. But you could play some golf, and Cowboys practice facilities all there. So you should check it out. You can go to kinderreese.com and click on the events tab and check that out. And right now the tickets are ridiculously low. So you should check it out.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
So that's the first thing. That's on my mind, man. And then and other than that, just the great response that we've had over the course of the last quarter. We measure everything like any other business in quarters. In this last quarter, when it comes to coaching, we've had some rock stars join up with us. And I'm super excited to be working close with some of these new coaching clients that are taking it to the next level.
Yeah. Things are growing. Yeah, it's awesome.
So when it comes to coaching, where you let everybody know where they can go to try to get in contact with you or get more information.
I think the best if you have any information or have any questions or any thoughts and like, man, what's this coaching program look like for these folks with these guys, is just head over to kinderreesecoaching.com. There's an awesome video over there to watch that breaks down the whole exponential growth strategy. It is right below this video that you're watching. Head over there, kinderreesecoaching.com, watch the video, and man, set up your clarity call. Would love to chat with you and kind of see where you're at in your business and what we can do to help you take your business to the next level, whatever you're wanting to take it. So super excited to have the opportunity to kind of chat with you guys.
It's powerful, man. And we've, obviously been doing this for, when did you all start coaching? I hadn't been there since the beginning, but more than a decade.
Yeah. The guys started the coaching, they started Kinder Reese back in 07, 08 timeframe.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things kind of distracted along the way, and really full steam ahead into 09 and 10. And, you know, we're 10 years in at least. I know I came on board in the coaching capacity, obviously have been in the fold since 04, but you know, coaching capacity wise in 2012, working with at the time working with our mastermind members that were doing $1 million plus GCI, and you know, obviously definitely focused on growing and building business. But, you know, we've got a proven track record of taking agents doing 25, 30, 40 transactions to doing 1,000. I mean, there's some of those that are what was thought to be the kind of the unicorn, that came, you know, their roots tie back to us that are out there doing it. And so it's kind of funny, man, when you look back and you know, there's always, you know, what's the Kevin Bacon degrees of separation.
Oh yeah. 6 degrees.
A lot of the folks out there, there's some ties, and so it's just pretty cool. Our system, like we said, you know, Jeff Kinder and I, we were talking about it. It's like, we're not testing our process in our, you know, it's just like we were talking about with the listing side, right? The proven repeatable system backed by market research to sell your home to 18% more than traditional real estate agents. But it's the same thing with our coaching. Like, we're not testing our process.
Yeah.
We're not testing our exponential growth strategy. That's proven. We're gonna test your level of commitment and your ability to put in the work to get clear and achieve the best version of you and your life and your business that you want. That's what we're going to test.
Well, on that note, man, let's just end this episode on that note, and you go to kinderreesecoaching.com to figure out how you can do all that.
Love it.
All right, man. Well, I love doing these Growth Guys episodes, and we got a couple things lined up later this week. So we will see you all a couple times later this week.
See ya.
To find out how to build a 7-figure real estate business in 3 years or less, go to kinderreesecoaching.com. You've been listening to the Growth Guys podcast. If you want us to help you grow your real estate business, go to kinderreesecoaching.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the Growth Guys podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast fix to get new, fresh weekly episodes. Catch you next time on the Growth Guys podcast.